show him cool things like, hey man, would your kids like this? Because my nephew would like this. Like, check this out, you know? Like, I sent him a screenshot of some rainbow unicorn Lucky Charms the other day. I was like, do your daughters know about these? Because I bet these are epic. Like, little things like that where it's like genuinely, like, I care. I do. Like, despite how messy this is and how I'm sure I'm going to be portrayed in the media and everything, like, I care about, like, his well-being with his children and all of that. And so, for me, like, when I think of what was he going through his head, I find it really hard to believe that I am the catalyst for all of this. I will be willing to say that I think me being in his life accelerated what was inevitably about to happen, but I don't think people just snap. Love does not murder. Hate and resentment murder. That's the way I look at that. I do not know what is the truth anymore and what's not, and I don't have all of the details, but this is just my opinion, but I'm pretty convinced that that woman and him did not get along very well, and the reason they stuck together was, hey, we're going to do kids, and I think they also stuck together because they were in a very bad financial bind, and I think that she continuously disregarded it. And I think he messed up because he was too passive to say anything to her about it and really address it. And it just got to the point where it's just like you file bankruptcy and then what do? Just wait till you file the next one? I don't know. I don't know what their finances look like now, but from the way it made it sound, it's probably a pretty stark situation. And I don't know if hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt over and over and over again are enough to lead a man to want to take somebody out, but I don't know. I've heard of people committing suicide over that shit before, and I would never justify what he did. I think it's fucking disgusting. It's, he's such a fucking pig. But I try to be why? I try to come up with a why, and I really think that he was struggling with her really bad, and not only that, he's got a third child on the way, and I know he was probably just I can't fucking afford a third kid. Wants it, but can't afford it, and he always told me he wanted a little boy. He wanted a third child. Mm-hmm. And so I think that it was just something I think they were in a financial situation, and I think she was very non-responsive to him trying to solve problems and get out of the situations that they were in. And I think people just get complacent is what it is. And then, I think he met me, and I think I was a breath of fresh air for him, where it was he could get away and just be you know what, I can be myself, I don't have to worry about money right now, and this girl, I have my shit together, my life is so, very in order.
You seem very organized and independent and dialed
Always.
in
I do
for
really
30.
good. I do really good at work. I have almost a perfect credit score. I've been saving money for a house. I don't mess around. I mean, I screwed up. This is my one screw up ever, and it's about to be on national news. But just very dialed in, and I think it was a breath of fresh air for him to be around something like that, because I don't think that he knew that was a real thing. And he had told me that numerous times. I didn't know women like you existed. It's just all right, I don't, and when he meant it, it was just just the way you run your life. And so, because he got married really young, and so, to answer your question, I think inevitably it was going to happen. I think it just got propelled faster. I mean, I don't understand what he would have achieved if he wanted to be with me that bad, what he would have achieved with me by doing what he did. I think his situation at home was way, way deeper than anything him and I ever had, and it led to that. And I don't know what happened in that conversation that they had, but I kind of have a feeling that it wasn't even about her pregnancy or another man or me. I have a feeling it was about money.
So drilling down, you think money
I
for
think
him is the biggest downfall. You guys, beyond their relationship, really I don't know that you know too much about the relationship or the particular issues other than monetary issues, financial issues. That sounds like what you guys talked about when you talked about their relationship.
I mean, he told me other things, they really didn't sleep together too much, stuff like that, but I feel a lot of husbands and wives don't do that. But it was oh, of course you don't. That's why you're coming to me, no, I think I just like me being in his life just pushed that forward. I honestly think that there's probably a good possibility that this would have just happened. Like further down the road. Where
So did you see that before yesterday or Tuesday, or was that just kind of something that you have reflected on and you've thought about this now going, man, now that I see that in this guy, or just because of the lifestyle he was living, and if he didn't get removed from it, this was going to happen sooner rather than later, like you said?
You know, if I was to reflect on anything over like the past few weeks, besides like the stuff in the last few days where you're like, hey, is there like any red flags? I would say like no. But one thing I did notice one time is we were sitting on my couch and I was telling him like, my house, I have a really beautiful house. Like it's set up like really nice, but everything I have is like from Craigslist or Goodwill. Like I have pieced it together and it's all, or like marked down stuff, and I have pieced it together in a way like, it's pretty, huh? It's a pretty house, but you would never guess that like everything I got is like super discount. And one day we were sitting on my couch and we were just like bullshitting about some stuff, and I was telling him like, oh yeah, you know, like I got this marked down in American Furniture because like the corner was dented, and like I got this one off a guy on Craigslist, and I put it all, and I was like telling him, I was like, I put it all together, and I was like, to me, it was like, material things don't make a home. I was like, it's the energy and the love that you bring to the home. I was like, it's not about what it looks like. I was like, it's about what you like bring to it, like mentally. And he like collapsed in my lap and gave me like the biggest, most genuine hug I think that man has ever given me. And he just laid there and he was just like, you were so different. And I didn't even say anything. I just like put my fingers in his hair and just let him chill there. And I assumed that it had to do with the finances. But it didn't like stress me out. It was just like this relief sigh where he just like dropped into my arms. And I didn't like really think too much of that event, except for that I was like, this was like it was like a really genuine hug, like collapsed into my lap, like just so relieved. And I didn't really think much of it until like I started reading about like their bankruptcy and all this other shit, and I was like, oh. So I think it might have been bigger than he let on, because he never told me about his bankruptcy.
Sure.
You know, he just told me about his current financials, and he didn't even get that in depth, but I'm assuming they're trashed. And so, yeah, I think her spending all that money and not listening to him, and him not standing up for himself in a calm and, you know,
Just elevate.
yeah.
Last hard question
kinda,
regarding this. And
go ahead.
And then I have just two cursory questions regarding something else, and then I think maybe Tim has a few questions for you. But I think what you say about the finances directs directly at his wife. Do you think that goes to the children as well? Because she took, did she treat them like that, like they were gold and they got everything as well that you know of? Or do you think there's a separate issue for why he may have done what he did to his children other than financial?
That part I don't have an answer for. I can't fucking explain that. I don't even think there is an answer. I don't even think there's any sort of like computing up here that could possibly give a rational explanation for why that would have happened.
Okay.
I mean, the only thing that I've honestly thought of when I play the scenario over in my head is that maybe they woke up and saw him doing in their mom, and he was like, fuck. Now I got to do this too. I don't know. I'm like, why? Because they were like his, like little lifeline. You know, he that was everything to him. You know, and I get like those two have problems.
But he had a great relationship. But from what you're accounting is
With his kids.
He loved his children.
Yeah, like that part. It's oh my god, that's the worst part of this whole mess. The worst part of this whole mess.
We won't dwell on it. We don't have to dwell on it.
No.
Let me ask you.
But so no, I don't have an explanation. That's the only thing I can possibly plausibly think of is maybe they saw it. But other than that, I don't know. What the fuck?
Okay. Who's Charlotte?
Are you asking me who's Charlotte?
Mm-hmm.
Like one of my friends?
Mm-hmm.
She's like a really good friend of mine. Why?
Did you have some conversations with her regarding another boyfriend
No.
that you might have met on eHarmony? Or did she meet somebody on eHarmony?
No, she's engaged.
Okay.
She's engaged.
So there's some text messages that we got off your phone, obviously, And the only reason I'm asking this is because if he found out maybe you had another boyfriend, you understand my line of questioning, that looked like maybe you had another boyfriend. And I don't know if that's this Jim guy, that maybe you guys were, no, I'm not saying that he's your boyfriend, that when we were interpreting the text messages, that it seemed like he might, this man came to my house, he has a key to my house, that you're saying right now. When I look at that from my perspective, Jim may be another boyfriend for you.
Oh, no. Charlotte is like my oldest friend.
So did you have a conversation with Charlotte about Jim?
I mean, sometimes we talk about him. We're all friends.
Did you guys ever have a conversation about eHarmony? That's the
possibly.
online...
I was on there for a while.
Okay.
But I didn't actually ever go out on any dates with guys from eHarmony. Not
Okay.
one. I talked to a couple guys on there, but I was like, no, I didn't go on any dates.
So the only reason would be another potential reason for him to be upset.
No, he knew about Jim. He's always known that Jim is one of my good friends,
Okay.
and I lay it out for people at the beginning. Like, I have friends that are male, I have friends that are female. These are my friends. That's what it is.
Okay.
He never to me seemed like jealous of Jim by any means. So no, I'm curious what text you're talking about with Charlotte.
I
talked to that girl so
I have
much.
153 pages of text messages, so I can't. If I could pull it up, I would, but I don't know where it is.
I thought you guys just got my text.
We got. When we ask for everything, for 7 days they give us everything.
Oh, so why did you need to just do that if you just had them?
Because I don't know that they're completely accurate. Again, what they send me is I don't have any way to verify that they're accurate.
Gotcha.
And if you delete a text message, sometimes those are not retained by carriers. They're still on your handset. There's a way to recover them from your phone. But they may not be held. There are certain carriers that don't even keep text messages. And I won't tell you who those people are, but they don't keep them. We can't even get our hands on them because they don't have a database. They don't pay the money. They're stored on your stuff and your stuff only. So that's why we ask for it. And some of those things disappear in 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, unless we ask them to keep them. And sometimes we don't know in time. So that's why we do it too. Okay? So just, it was a question because it also would provide potentially a motive for what Chris did if he found out that you had another boyfriend.
Why would he kill his family?
Well, he wigs out that he finds out that you have a boyfriend and just loses it altogether. Do you understand? Because he's already losing his wife, and now his new girlfriend has another boyfriend, and he can't. There's multiple reasons why. It was a concern. That
his cheese slid off his cracker. So sad. I don't know. He's not even the same. I look at those mug shots and they're scary. They scare me.
Yeah, so just said about that video too, it didn't, I had noticed I would have been a wreck. Oof.
I don't know. I mean, I volunteered with some guys for when I did the armed military stuff that had PTSD, and they were telling me when they went through trauma that they kind of locked up. So I didn't even think it was the fact that he was calm that freaked me out.
Oh,
it was
you were helping
his
those guys
eyes.
Out
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was his, that part didn't, because I was I've seen, there's these guys that have been in battle that I've worked with that are yeah, I've experienced this is how I handle my trauma, and they're very just kind of like zombies. But, so I didn't hold that against him. It was just his eyes. And just the light is gone from his eyes.
So let me just finish just with a couple quick questions here. But besides the obvious, and what he's done, what's the worst thing about this guy? Did you ever have just some sense? You seem to be pretty together with who you date, the people you hang around with. You seem to know a lot about people. Was there some impression he gave you that was negative?
Time? The whole time we were together?
Yeah. Anything negative that sticks out?
I didn't think anything negative. I mean, I have preferences. I thought he was I don't want to use the word clingy because it's fucked up. He was he was a lot more into me than I was into him. And it didn't make...
The entire time?
Yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed his company, though. I mean, enough so that I kept everything going despite the situation. And, I mean, it didn't scare me or anything. It's just I don't move that fast.
Okay.
So I think things
were
were
his
moving.
long-term plans with you? What did he discuss with you?
like, I mean, we'd like bullshit about it every once in a while and be like, oh yeah, like, I asked him, I was like, if you didn't have that big house, because he didn't want to live in it, and he had made it very clear he didn't pick that out, he didn't, none of that. I was like, well, if you could have a house that you wanted, what would your house look like? And he would tell me, he's like, I want a little ranch home, like, it doesn't need all these floors, just a few bedrooms, enough space for my kids, maybe some property so they can, like, run around. You know, 2-car garage, maybe 3, put the old sports car in there, because he liked cars. Stuff like that. You know what I tell him? I'm like, I'm simple too, so if you end up doing that and we end up staying together, let's do it. But it was never like, sell your house, let's go buy a house. Like, it was very...
You ever say anything about getting married?
To me?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a thing where it was like offhandedly, like, one day maybe this will happen, but again, it was like, these were... I did not take these as very, like, deep conversations. It wasn't like, this is when we're going to get married, this is what's going to go on.
Okay.
You know?
And you knew him for how long?
Brief.
I mean, total. Just not dating him, but I mean, when were you first aware of him? How long?
I don't know. Probably the beginning of June or maybe May. So, like, 2.5, 3 months, tops. I mean, this is all, like, really fresh. Like, all of this is compounded into, like, a very small time frame.
Very quick.
Yes.
Has he worked for the company for a while?
Yeah. I don't know how long. I want to say, like, 5 or 6 years off the top of my head, but I don't know. But
Did he supervise people? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, kind of. So he was an operator, and the way the operators are set up at Anadarko is they have operator 1, operator 2, operator 3. But then each operator is, like, broke down into, like, the basic guy, the medium guy, and, like, the foreman. And then it starts all over again. So he is still on level 1 of the operators, but he's, like, the top dog on the level 1 of the operators.
Okay. The whole time you've known him, this 2 or 3 months, did he ever complain of anything, any medical issues whatsoever? And did you ever pick up on anything? Is he allergic to anything? Does he have any, you know, a special diet, anything that's messing with him physically?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, how about psychologically? Do you ever think there's something wrong with this guy?
No,
I mean,
I wouldn't have dated him if I did. He, honestly, I mean, maybe because I thought he was, like, one of the, like, most laid back and, like, decent men I'd ever met, and I just haven't met a lot of people like that, but, I mean, no. Not up until all this stuff started happening, then I was like, whoa, you are not the person that I thought you were. But prior to that, no, not at all. I really didn't. I enjoyed his company.
Do you think he was dating anyone else?
No.
No way?
No.
Okay.
He was way too invested in that.
Was the relationship was it sexual right off the bat?
Pretty close. I mean, like, once we got it to be, like, where we're hanging out outside of work, yeah. I mean, it wasn't, like, immediate, but shortly following that, yes. And then it just continued.
Okay. Pretty consistently throughout the relationship? So kind of hot and heavy. You mentioned that maybe you guys were sending some photos back and forth. What kind of photos is he sending you?
Well, see, he would, like, send me, like, workout photos, stuff like that. He sent me a couple of inappropriate pics. I did not request those. I didn't even want them. I was just like, why did I do
What
this?
were they?
Oh, it was of his package. And I'm just like, okay, cool.
Like his face and everything, or just?
No.
Okay.
No, that's it. But I think he only did that, like, one time. It's just like, I don't even really want this. But usually he would just send me pictures, like, workout pics, like, progress pics stuff, and I would just kind of keep him updated, like, because he had some, like, fitness goals in mind, so it's kind of like trying to help him out with that.
Okay. When was the last time you guys were intimate?
Saturday.
Was that at the Broncos game? Where would that have taken place?
At my house.
When he went to go pick you up before heading up to...
He didn't pick me up. We drive my vehicle. But, yeah, prior to and immediately following afterwards. So it was like,
So when he dropped you back
he
off,
came to my house,
you
it
did-
happened, and then we went out to dinner, and he came back to my house, happened again, and then he left.
Okay. Any other stressors in his life besides finances and that he mentioned?
I
And
mean,
his wife?
just the fact that that she doesn't, like, let him openly communicate. I mean, but other than that, no. I mean, nothing that I really know of. We didn't, like, dive super deep into that stuff. It was just, like, occasionally there'd be a conversation where it would come up, and, I mean, it wasn't even really information that he wanted to provide. It was just, like, me being curious, like, why are you separating from her? This is good to know. Or, like, what are your finances like in case I end up building a life with you? But it was usually me like doing the inquiries, but I used to try not to be like super invasive about that stuff.
What are the, in your mind, again, just real quick, what are the things that really pop out to you that he would complain about his wife?
Just that she didn't listen to him. She like never listened to him. She always just like shut him off. Oh, and he told me once that she used to like kind of like talk shit to him in front of his kids, and his kids were starting to repeat it.
To give you an example?
Yeah, she said, what did she say? He said he tried to ask her for something and ask her a question. I don't know, something, he didn't like dive super into this. This was like pretty early on, and she said, she told him to shut up and that he didn't know anything. And his kids started like repeating it. And he said that it made him really sad, and he realized that that was when he needed to separate from her.
So, and he never, though, he said she was a good mom?
Yeah, I mean, he never complained about her being like a bad mom or neglectful or anything like that.
Abusive, anything like that?
Nothing. When it comes to like violence or anger or any of that, nothing. I mean, and he even said like, yeah, like so she kind of like gets bossy with me sometimes, but as far as like arguing back and forth, he's like, that never happens. He's like, we don't fight like that. So I don't know. He seemed pretty like even keeled with stuff. So
Did they talk about how they discipline their kids at all?
I never asked. I felt like that was not my place.
And he never mentioned it?
Nope.
That's all I was going to ask.
Just making sure nobody else.
What time is it? I've been so.
It's 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
It's time to go. You have my card. Things will probably come to your mind in the next day, week, month, year, especially as you get some sleep and recover here. Please don't hesitate to call me. My email's on there. You can email me. The business phone number on there is not accurate. I used to work in our Pueblo office until
So what is it?
July. Just call my cell phone. I'm never in my office anyways.
Okay.
Okay? My cell phone will always be the same, so just call my cell phone. And I will respond to you as soon as I can. If you need, to send an email, again, you can send an email to me. Okay? If I can help you in any way with some services to deal with the obvious trauma that you face, let me know, and I'll get you in touch with the people that can help you. Also, if you have issues with anybody intimidating you in any fashion, I will tell you right now, I have zero tolerance for that. Zero. I will charge anybody if I can prove it, and I will take them straight to jail. Period. You're not a suspect in anything. You're merely a witness. Unfortunately for you, you met a man who did some terrible things, and I won't stand for it. Through my career, period, zero tolerance. You will go straight to jail. You call me immediately, and I will handle it.
I appreciate
Okay?
that.
And finally, you probably eventually are going to get media inquiries.
When are you thinking this is going to happen?
I don't think it's going to happen soon. I really don't. I will tell you today that there was an inquiry from a media member requesting to know if there was any other people involved in Chris's life. I think the story is they're searching, but there's only a multiple couple of reasons that somebody could think what would cause this.
Well, they're seeing the financial stuff. They're posting it.
Right.
I'm seeing it.
So I think there's a buffer for you for a couple of reasons. I told you today, I did not see the affidavit. I don't think your name was mentioned in it. There's no reason for it, I don't think, at this time for his arrest. When the affidavit becomes public, which I think they mentioned maybe early next week, that'll keep them media busy for a while.
Oh, so her name wasn't in it that you think?
I don't think your name
Mark
was
said
in
he
it.
didn't publish that thing
Right.
yet, so if he has...
So I talked to Mark this morning, and I know he has not written a report. Now, I do know that he did talk to the people yesterday just regarding her, because it was important for some of the things we were doing yesterday. Again, I don't think your name appears in that report. But don't hold me to that. I didn't write the affidavit, but from what I know, it doesn't. So at some point, your name is going to come out. I mean, there's just no way it's not. And like I told you, I want.
So when do you think that is? Like when we take this to trial?
I don't
Like
know.
at what point? Because nobody knows about this.
Right, but Chris does.
Yeah, I don't think he's in any rush to tell the media anything. I mean, maybe.
Is there mitigators that in his mind, or again, you got a phone call from the public defender's office, whether you talk to them or not,
I
that's
did
your business.
not.
You didn't?
I did not.
Oh, I thought you did.
I did not.
Hmm.
I didn't know what to do. Mark said to ask you what to do.
Okay, so did they reach out to you?
Yep.
Okay, you can, your decision. You don't have to talk to them, or you can. I won't say either way. You have to make that decision for yourself.
I don't really know what to do. I feel like if I talk to them, they're either going to try to like find some holes in my story or try to get me to like be Chris's only ally, and I don't really feel like dealing with either one of those.
Then I think you've made up your mind.
Yeah,
So,
I don't
and
want
maybe
to.
confide in your father.
No, that's what we were
Should
talking
we
about.
Yeah.
already talked?
I can't really give you legal advice. They have every reason to want to talk to you. Just like if they got to you before I did, I would want to talk to you too. You understand what I mean? And I won't hamper what their investigation is or anything. They want information too, certainly. They have a client that they're trying to protect and make sure that everything that we're looking at is the same thing that they would want to
But
look
they
at.
can get it from you.
They will get it from us.
So-
It'll be in discovery. They'll get everything that we've talked about here, and that's so when that happens, which is pretty short order. The reports that we will generate, everybody involved in this case, will be sent to the public defender's office. I think at that time you might find that there could be some exposure for you. So I am not going to tell anybody who you are. If somebody called me today, I don't talk to the media. I don't have any business talking to the media. Mark has no business talking to the media. They don't need to know who you are. Your part in this is not relative to anything to the story. For me, it's nothing that they need to know, and I don't ever give information to anybody.
They're
Okay.
going to dwell on it, though. They're going to try to use that as his why. I don't think it's his why. I really don't.
That's why I asked you that question.
No.
You think his why is financial? And whether or not we ever know what his why is, I don't know.
Did he tell you guys what his why was?
I can't discuss it with you.
So, just a quick open question. The way the legal system runs, is it, if he totally confesses and pleads guilty, is there a reason for a trial, or do they just pack enough discoveries together that this proves what he said, and
So the
and
purpose
he goes
of
to a kind of court and it's done, or?
the purpose for discovery is we have to. We're obligated by law to share everything that we know with the public defender or a
Absolutely.
private attorney.
Right, okay.
It doesn't go the other way. They don't have to share anything with us. So we are obligated to give them everything we have, no matter what happens. I can tell you right now, probably sometime early this week will be his. He's going to enter a plea. Either I'm guilty or not guilty. That will probably be sometime Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this coming week, I would imagine, from what I heard today. Now, it might be a little more delayed, and then that starts the legal process. So
But if he pleads
if
guilty,
he pleads
though-
guilty, could that happen today? Sure, certainly. I mean, he could go to his attorneys. You've seen it happen before. If he pleads guilty, is that information still available? Absolutely, because there's still got to be legal process regarding is he competent to stand for? Can he make that plea? Are the attorneys going to allow him to do
All
so?
the stuff.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
So
okay.
all that information still goes to them, and then that would play into potentially what is the sentence, what could be the penalty. All those things have to be looked at by attorneys. So there is not them ever getting her name. It is going to be there at some point. And I don't know. I understand your fear, and that's why I told you that if anybody, I don't care if somebody calls you and says, anything minor, you call me and let me know, please. I will not stand for that.
Well,
Okay.
I haven't
So
been
it's
answering.
it would be the news people would only be the ones that, and of course they already know what to
God, work is gonna be such a mess too. That's gonna be like a whole nother level. Like everybody at my work I heard was so like just damaged and broken today, and then it's like, let's just add Nikki into this whole mix. It's not gonna be good for all of them, like mentally either. It's just gonna be a mess.
Maybe your employer could transfer you to another business.
I think that's a fair statement. I will tell you right now that Anadarko has been very, very helpful with us and is very concerned about their employees in this event. And I'm tired too, but your employer definitely has an indication of your relationship with Chris, I would think.
They're not my employer.
Oh, that's right. You work for a different company.
Yeah, but you're saying
I think-
Anadarko has a knowledge of that.
Well,
Who are we talking about, Tasman or Anadarko?
I don't even know what Tasman is.
Tasman is the people that cut my check, and I'm contracted out to APC.
So I think people have suspicion that there was a relationship with Chris. Not saying you, but they may know that. I think there was some suspicion that he was having a relationship with somebody else. Not your name specifically. But if you went to your bosses and said, I have an issue that I don't, like your dad's saying, I think that you might find that they'll just get you out of there.
See, that's what, and that's what we were talking about today, because they probably have a policy for psychological help. They probably have a policy for inquisitive, people bugging other employees. That's a big company with a lot of HR, and there's...
Do you have an employee assistance program? EAP?
I don't. Oh yeah, that they were there all day today. But it's like I got so many calls today from
Those are
people I work
questions
with.
that you can ask them anonymmously, and that information is
See,
retained.
that's what I was saying, because if...
So what am I supposed to do?
Well-
Tell my boss?
Well, but your boss isn't going to want rumor mongers. They're not going to want people stressing you out. They're not going to They don't want erratic workflow. They don't want any of that. So they'll probably do a broadcast letter of anybody that was friends,
They already
acquaintances
did. They already
of it,
dealt with all the shit
or
that's
anything
done
else.
today.
Please respect that employee's feelings. And right there, oh, and by the way, if any of you have problems, you can call Mickey Mouse at, and that's probably,
See,
they
but-
probably have a policy with that.
Here's the
And I'm
problem,
hoping that
though.
they do.
I don't work for them.
But they can still,
But if I'm like
Protect you under
transfer
that.
me, like they're gonna be like, you're not even our employee. Like I'm pretty sure I'm about to lose my job over this.
no,
No, you're not. Why would you lose your job?
I don't know, because I feel like people are gonna just complain about being uncomfortable with working with me. Like I am not gonna have any respect from anybody there. I think I will have like 2 people that still.
You really didn't do anything wrong.
I had an affair with a married man who lied to me and made me believe that he really wasn't like as married as I think he was. But the media is not going to be so kind to let everybody know that. I think people are going to think I'm like the reason that he went off the deep end.
That's probably a fair statement. I would probably agree with you to some effect. But if these people them at work, then
and the company will
protect
company
you at
will-
some point.
buffer that as much as they can, because if not, it'd be chaos amongst employees, and they can't have that.
I'm just so
It's
sad.
just
Like
not
this
good
is
in
like
their best
the
interest.
job of all jobs I've ever had in my life, and I
Really?
fucked it up.
Well, so you've been out in the field, you've been home 3 months of the year on an average, in staggered amount, out in the middle of nowhere on oil rigs. This little thing was out hanging on oil rigs, and now they got her an environmental where she's able to clean up stuff.
Right.
And it's a hot job, man. It's just a hot job, and
I
mean, would you advise
wouldn't
me
start.
talking to
I
like
can't
my
give you
head
legal
higher up?
advice. Maybe the best thing to do on that is talk to your EAP, whoever the employees assistance people are. They're anonymous. They know all your HR rules. They know all your policy and procedure stuff. And how can I mitigate this?
Fair
and also,
question.
your problem too is not just is this going to become an environment where you can't work? So you have to call those people and say, I don't want this to happen, so how do we take care of it? I want to continue to work for you guys. I love my job, whatever. Just be proactive. I don't know, your boss is on site.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. I don't know.
I think that's a personal decision you have to make.
Yeah.
But I
mean,
don't
I didn't
think-
even think about talking to them at all, but I keep thinking about it. I'm like, man, when my name gets out in the news, this is about to be crazy.
No,
like,
I
I had
do it.
people
Call me all day. Like, my office mate would not shut up. She just called me today, and she was just like, oh my God, did you read this article and this article, and what did you think? And oh my God, and this, and I'm just like, I don't want to talk about this. Please leave me alone. And like, it was really overwhelming. And my project manager called me, and he's really chill, so we made it a very quick conversation. But some people just like didn't get it, and it's so hard to me
I
because
would
I
get
feel
in
like
front of
I'm lying to them.
I'd get in front of it. No, don't.
Yeah, because
Make
the
a
company,
decision.
I don't think it would be in their best interest legally, morally, or profit-wise to have a bunch of junk going on. They would suppress it to keep it at least where everybody's treated with respect throughout the company. This is a tough situation. They'll put the presidential speech in
I could do
it.
that job like 75% of that at home.
Yeah, I
I've
would-
already been thinking about that. I was thinking about just asking Lena, like, hey man, just let me come in at like 5 in the morning and deal with the gas monitors like 2 days a week. No one will even know I'm
And I
there.
believe that
And let me just work at home.
they probably made a statement on that, what'd you call it, OHP or
EAP.
EAP.
EEP?
They put out a notice today.
If they put that out and it says your confidentiality will be respected,
It has to be.
if that got leaked through an HR department and that got out after you told them something, that would not be good for.
Employment law is very strict on that
Yeah,
kind of
so
stuff,
I
and
think you should just not attack it, but be proactive in it and snuff it, because
And what? Just go tell my boss, like, not what I told you guys, but like a summed up version of it. Like, hey,
Well,
my
they-
name is about to get released in the media, and there's a lot of stuff.
I don't know if I'd
it's
do
pending.
that in that fashion. I might you just need to figure out a tactful way to do that. And perhaps in an employment, there is attorneys that deal with employment law, and maybe you want to reach out to one of them. That might help you. I don't know. It's a decision that you might need to make, or you might want to talk. I think I would talk to EAP first because it's not going to cost you any money. But-
See if they'll do something. I hope so, because they're not actually my employer. So
Well, they're an outside agency that just knows what's going on.
but
See,
both,
I don't
both
know, so
companies, it would be in their best interest to protect everybody, including all the foremen he worked with, apprentices he worked with. I mean, all of those people have a lot of information too.
Not like me.
But again, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to have, they don't want to talk about it. They have the same rights. So it would be a company-wide thing. So I would just,
On the media
we'll
stuff,
work on that.
Yeah, I think you've got a grip on that. On the media stuff, for you, I wouldn't talk to the media. Just tell them you don't have any comment, and for you, probably the same. And if they just persist, maybe put somebody. It seems like your dad is your biggest confidant here, and maybe make a brief statement. If my daughter doesn't want to say anything, have a nice day, whatever. Because if you appease them a little bit, sometimes they'll go away. That would just be my suggestion. Don't talk to them. You don't need to.
I'm not going to. I guess they're gonna make their own assumptions.
Let
You,
them
So does your neighbor, so does the
Right. They'll be
guy
talking
that's
as soon as they
stopped at the
figure
red
out who
light.
you are. They're going to talk to your neighbor, and they're going to say, "Oh yeah, I saw Chris, and her together." Whatever. You know what's going to happen. Just prepare yourself, and then it won't be.
Are they
There-
gonna
there's
like
an.
swarm my house?
No, I don't think so.
No, they were like swarming his. He told me that he's like, there's media everywhere, and it's just like, I hope that does not happen
Well,
to me. I
yeah.
mean, I have like a safe house in Denver that I can go to, that I
There
have the
you go.
keys to, that has
That's what
nobody
we're,
there
that's what we're
ever.
thinking for the
And
next
it's
couple
all
of
I have to
weeks.
do is check the mail, and there's no questions asked, and nobody knows where it is, and I'm not telling anybody, but it's like a really nice spot for me to like hide
there.
out, and I don't have any friends in that building. I mean, it's an apartment, but it's
And we
like
will
safe.
answer your phone calls, but the safe house is from
The safe house
Go
is
there.
the safe
people
house.
banging on her apartment
Well,
door.
when should I go there? When do you think all this is going to start happening? I mean, it's kind of.
I mean, it might be just good for you to go there, anyways, for your sanity, and stay away from this place that you had a connection to this man with, and get your thoughts in order.
It's
and
so sad. That was my nest. That was like such a warm little place.
That was
and
your-
now it's like I haven't even slept in my bed. I've just been sleeping on the couch with the dog. I don't even want to do it.
What other questions can we answer before we go? I don't foresee talking to you again regarding this now. An attorney might review something and go, hey, can you ask her another question? And that would be a long ways down the line. I don't think there's anything else. I let you talk for a long time today to get it all out. So we don't have to do this again, because I don't want to traumatize you again. But if there is important things that come up, please know that I do want to talk to you about those. Other things that we haven't talked about today, or if something just, I mean, I got to tell them, just call me.
I mean, like, some things I thought were really important. Like, the other day, like, I didn't mention the wedding ring thing, and then I was like, that was really creepy. I should probably tell them about that.
And, yeah, that,
And you got those cards. I gave you those cards.
So you gave me cards and there was clothing in there.
Yeah, I don't care what you do with it all. I just don't
The
want
clothing, was any of the clothing anything he wore this weekend, or is it stuff that was from...
No. It was like stuff that he brought over, like, prior to that.
Okay.
None of that. Like, some of it's been washed and folded since then. Yeah, I just wanted it out of my house and didn't want to throw it away.
We'll
So
take
you
care of
guys
it.
can
We
deal
have
with
it.
it.
We'll take care of that. If I have questions on the context of a text message, I might just call you and say, "How does this mean?" Because I might not
Yeah.
understand what you were talking about. If that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
If it's, I'm not going to bother you unless it's really important, because I think I have everything I need from you today.
okay, yeah, we just wanted to make sure you guys had it so that
Well, and we don't. I
you can
don't
find the right person or
yeah,
something
We don't
and
want to
get
do
it
it
done.
again. Yeah, and we know we have the right person, and I am sorry that you're involved. I am. It's never a good time to say anything like that, but it's a bad deal. This whole thing is, and this is one of the tougher cases that I think I've been doing this a long time. It's, you know, it's tough. So for you, it's even tougher. And don't forget to reach out to somebody for your sanity. Like I asked you downstairs a question, and you said no. You remember what question I asked you, right?
No. You know how many questions you've asked me
Did you want a
tonight?
pizza?
Well, hell,
Pizza.
I want
I
food
love
too.
pizza.
No, I asked you if you had any concern. I asked if I should be concerned at all about you hurting yourself.
Oh, no, I don't feel the need to do that. I
Right.
just want people to leave me alone. I
And
just
if
feel like
you-
I want to, like, hide for a little while all
Just
of this
please
is happening.
reach out to your family or even me, and if you have anything that's struggling, like I told you, there's people I can put you in touch that will talk to you. I'm not a psychologist. That's not what I am. But people sometimes that get caught in these situations, they end up having lots of emotional issues, and you need to address them. Don't just hide that stuff. Okay.
All right. Are you guys
You
going to
seem
help
pretty
me if
super
we go?
intelligent. So
I appreciate that. That's a nice compliment. When we go to, like, trial for this, if that's what he so feels the need to take this to, are you guys going to help, like, coach me through these
course.
questions?
So we would be there to rediscuss our conversation today, the conversation you had with Mark, and then an attorney would talk to you prior to any questioning on the stand regarding what kind of questions they're going to ask you. And really the only thing you have to remember, I mean, if you're worried about your recollection or your recall or, you know, how you might remember this, everybody worries about that. Even we do. We spend hours on the stand, and it's very difficult. But the only thing you have to remember is tell the truth. And the truth will never change in your mind. You know what happened during these 6 weeks. You know what happened on Monday and Tuesday. And as long as you tell the truth, then there's nothing to be worried about. If you don't remember something, you don't remember it. Might they pick on you a little bit about that? Absolutely. They usually pick on us a lot more than they do you guys. So, but that's so far down the road.
How long are we talking? Like, how long
That
is this
could
whole process
be,
gonna take?
well, so he has the right to a speedy trial once he makes a plea, which is 45 days. Do I think that's going to happen? Absolutely not. I can tell you that the majority of the homicides that I work on average somewhere between 1 and 3 years.
Yeah, look at the
So
clown
do
man.
I gotta just deal
With
with
the
the
theater.
media, like, knocking on my door
You're-
like that for like 3 years. 'Cause that's
This
big enough to
case
go
will
through.
be hot until the next, unfortunately, crazy case comes up. And you know it's true. I don't know if you watch the news. There's a reason I really don't.
Every week.
I don't.
But
watch
you
the
know
news.
there's something new every week that's the hot topic. This one might be hot for a week, 2, 3, whatever, and then something else is going to happen, and they're going to forget all about this one until it comes back to court, and then it's going to be revived if it ever does. I don't know what that, he
So-
has all sorts of. He could plead. He could say, I want to go to trial. I didn't do this. Whatever. He could say whatever. So it could be tomorrow. It could be 5 years. It just depends. I mean, there's a lot of things that can slow cases down.
Yeah, look at that theater thing. I mean, that was a whirlwind for, what, a month or so?
Sure.
And then all of a sudden, as soon as people started figuring out what that guy was all about, all of a sudden they started just like, man, he's weird. He was psycho. Look at him. And they just kind of just...
And then it
But I
petered
notice
off.
it shows
and then-
up like every...
That's a huge event.
Yeah.
Certainly
But it shows up every 6
unprecedented.
months or a year. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, you look at,
Ugh.
I just, there's no way to know that. But if,
Okay.
like your dad's saying, like on that guy was sent to the state hospital for evaluation, and that takes a long, long time, and that can draw out cases if there's evaluations. There's all sorts of things that come into play that really don't worry about. Put this thing out of your mind as much as you can, and when the time comes, if it ever does, that you had to testify, you will be in good hands. We'll take care of you. The attorneys handling this case are going to, take care of whatever needs to happen. Okay? And if you have questions that you can't think of now, just call me.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna talk to the other side. From what we were discussing, they can get the discoveries from you
I
guys.
don't
And
want
it's,
to deal with him
it's-
anymore.
it's
Mark
less
already
than-
said he's like he might try to call you. I think I'm gonna just ignore that.
Who?
Chris. I don't know if he will try to call me. I heard. Did they find those little girls yet? I haven't looked for them. And they
I don't-
thought, or
I
they
don't
knew where
know.
they were at. You don't know yet, because
I
you've been
don't.
in here with me.
Right.
Oh my god.
I find the whole thing very weird if the close, as much as you told me that he was as normal as he was, but yet some very close friend would call within a couple of hours of her not answering the door, or what was it?
Well, I think she was like on meds or something. Like, so I think she wasn't concerned
to
about
call
Chris.
But to call the police within just like the same day, and yet he acted normal on this end, that is weird.
Yeah.
There's two different lives there or something.
Oh, there's definitely two different lives there. That's why sometimes I have to I feel like when he's like, well, what did she, and people are like, what did he say about her? And it's just like, I don't even know if I want to say it, because who knows if that's what's really happening. I mean, maybe not.
Molly called me back, so we'll call her tomorrow.
Okay, I think I might need to approach Anadarko. I really don't want to go to work tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to just take the week off, and then maybe sort things out on the weekend, and then I can reach out to my supervisor and EAP or whatever.
Yeah, you need a little sleep and some time.
Yeah, you definitely need some sleep. Don't drive tonight. Yeah.
She's, I'm gonna drive her home and then all the way back.
I'll walk you guys down.
You're gonna get. Yeah, I'll
You
get
need to
tape.
use the restroom first, Pumpkin?
No, which is...